Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the Monday, June 2nd, 2025 Kitty Hawk Town Council meeting to order. It is 6:02 p.m. We're in the Smith Meeting Room. Thank you for those that are here tonight. Thank you for those that are listening in. We appreciate you doing that. If you would, if you are able to stand, please join us in a moment of silence followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Lauren, is there anyone signed up for public comment, please?
No, sir. We currently do not have anyone signed up for
Okay.
public comment.
Is there anyone here tonight that would like to speak during the public comment period about any topic? Anyone? Okay, Lauren, let the record show no one chose to speak during public comment. Council, you have the consent agenda in front of you. If everything meets with your standards there, I need a motion to approve tonight's consent.
So moved.
Motion made by David, second. Second by Charlotte. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed. Very good. Item 6, we had no items removed from the consent agenda. Item 7, Rob, we've got a subdivision review, 4106 Bob Perry Road.
As you mentioned, this one is a subdivision at 4106 Bob Perry Road. It's a two-lot subdivision. No new roads or infrastructure or anything planned for it. So really the only things I was looking for in this one is the minimum lot size, density, the width, and the road frontage. You can see the contiguous upland of each parcel. One of them has 15,141 square feet. The other 20,922 square feet, so it meets the minimum lot size requirement. The maximum density in the area is 2 dwellings per acre. And the definition for density in the ordinance does say that marsh and wetlands areas, as determined by CAMA and or TRC regulations, which are contiguous to estuarine water, sounds and bays, and areas waterward of the oceanfront vegetation line, may not be used for density calculations. There is no language in the density definition about the continuous connected uplands. So the applicant has shown on the other side of Bob Perry Road, the existing parcel is on both sides of Bob Perry. So the part they have labeled as tract 2 would stay with parcel 1, and you can see that they've got the sufficient square footage to make up that 2 dwellings per acre. And you can see on the site plan it meets the minimum road frontage and lot width. So planning board unanimously recommended approval at its May 15th meeting. I don't believe the applicants are here, but okay. I can try to answer any questions you might have.
Good, thank you, Rob. Council, any questions for Rob?
I just have one. Rob, the road has no bearing on the square footage, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. That's all.
Good question. Anybody else?
Rob, the minimum lot width is 75. Do you know if that pinch point right there at the that rebar set flush and the property line to the left, is that 75-foot width?
I don't know offhand, but the lot width requirement is 75 feet at the front building setback line. Okay. So you can see right here is where we're looking for the 75.
Okay.
And it meets it at that point.
That 115 and then it's in, okay.
Yeah.
So it would be allowed to go back narrower than 75 feet if it meets that frontage?
Correct.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else, Billy?
No, sir.
David, Sean? Yeah? No. Okay, I don't have any questions. Okay, council, if you have no further questions, no further discussion, I will entertain a motion at this time.
I'll make a motion. Where's the move?
Go ahead, Dave.
I'm gonna find it, I'm sorry.
7A.
Spoke too soon. I'm gonna make a motion, I move to approve the preliminary plat, final plat for 4106 Bob Perry Road as shown on the submitted plat.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Motion made by Dave, second by Jeff. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Aye. All opposed?
Thanks for covering the fumble.
You saved him, Jeff. Thank you, Rob.
Yep, thank you.
Okay, 8A and 8B, we need to set a couple of public hearings, council. 8A is a zoning text amendment regarding residential district regulations.
I'll make a motion.
Go ahead, David.
I'll make up for the last one. I move to set a public hearing at the Town Council meeting on July 7, 2025 to consider the proposed text amendment to Section 42-1 and specific district regulations as identified in this staff report.
Second?
Thank you, David. Thank you, Dylan. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. Item 8B, we need to set a public hearing, subdivision ordinance amendment.
Not it.
Do I have a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I move to set a public hearing at the Town Council meeting on July 7th, 2025 to consider the proposed text amendment to Chapter 38 subdivisions as identified in this staff report.
Thank you, Jeff.
Second.
Second by David. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. Okay, item 9A, we've got we need to go into public hearing regarding our fiscal year 2025-2026 budget. Do we have a motion to go into public hearing, please?
So moved.
Motion made by David, second.
Second.
Second by Charlotte. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we are in public hearing. And council, as you're aware, we've had a couple of budget workshops and presentation at our last meeting, but we're to the point we need to make a decision here.
Not this message. Okay. Well, we will just show you like this. Good evening, Mayor, Council, members of the community, staff. This is a shortened version of last month's presentation, just to go over the crucial information in the 25-26 fiscal year budget. The things that we are going to discuss are the revaluation, the revenue, and the expenditures. This year, Dare County did a revaluation on properties, and the 24-25 property values were $1.5 billion, and the fiscal year 25-26 property values, because of the valuation, went up to $2.4 billion. What we have to do as a town is calculate the revenue neutral. And when that was done, our neutral tax was calculated at 19 cents. Now keep in mind that 19 cents includes a 2-cent municipal service district tax for beach nourishment that's townwide. So there's 17 cents townwide and a 2 cents townwide to make the 19 cents. The revenue neutral for the municipal service district between the highways, which is only paid by those properties, is 6 cents. So we had to calculate that for the revaluation and to calculate the tax rate. This budget cycle, the projected revenue is $12,539,727. In government budgets, you have to be balanced. Your expenditures and your revenues have to match. So, to meet our expenditures and project this revenue, we are proposing a townwide tax of 22 cents. And again, that includes the 2 cents allocated to beach nourishment. And then the municipal service district stays revenue neutral at 6 cents. The current tax rate is 30 cents with 3.5 cents going to beach nourishment. So the revaluation takes those taxes down. The municipal service district tax was 10 cents. And again, when you do revenue neutral, it calculates out to 6 cents. So we are proposing a 3 cent tax above revenue neutral. And this is our projected expenditures. We have $6.7 million in personnel and benefits, $4.1 million in operations, $398,000 in maintenance and repairs, $674,000 in capital outlay, and $493,000 into transfer into the capital reserve for future savings and future projects. And that is the extent of my presentation tonight.
Thank you, Melody. Council, I know you're aware that at last month's meeting, we had a more in-depth, as Melody said earlier, presentation about our budget. When we get to the point of having a discussion here, just a minute in regular session, I've got something I want to bring up. Liliana, would you confirm, we've got some documentation here. Each additional penny above 22 cents generates $248,000. That's what I've got here. Is that correct? That's correct. Okay. All right, Council, any questions for Melody or Liliana during public hearing?
No questions, I have comments.
All right, let me get to the, is there anyone here tonight that would like to speak during this public hearing regarding the budget? 2025, 2026 budget. Anyone? Okay, thank you. Lauren, let the record show no one chose to speak. Council, if you don't have any further questions, I need a motion to go back into regular session, please.
So moved.
Motion made by David, second.
Second.
Second by Dylan. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed. All right, we're back in regular session. I'm just gonna say, we left our last meeting kind of telling everybody to think about it for the next 30 days, from last meeting to this meeting. We mentioned a couple of things, and Jeff, you and I have talked about not leaving future councils in a bind. Dylan, you had a good discussion about a $2 million fire truck that we've got in our future. And we can't put any money away for that at the regular 22 cents that is proposed tonight.
Correct.
An additional 1 cent, I'm just throwing it for you guys to discuss and think about it. If you want to stay at 22, that's fine. Additional 1 cent, we could solicit and collect more money to be set aside to be used solely for that fire truck and nothing else, so we can start preparing for a $2 million fire truck. Chief, when do we anticipate needing that fire truck?
We'll hit the 25-year benchmark in 2030.
Okay.
I understand that the current fire truck that we're paying for now will be paid by December in full.
Of this year. We have done great. This time has
Absolutely.
done great there.
And without pulling that information up, how much is that payment a year?
It'll be fully paid for.
I know, but what were we paying, yearly or monthly, or how were we doing it?
No, we're putting it away in the capital reserve.
No, the one that's going to be paid off and stuff by the end of the year.
We'll have enough money to pay for it.
I got
It
you.
won't, it's not a,
It's not a payment thing.
No.
Yeah.
That's all we know about is monthly payments, right? Okay, council, I've opened that floor. I definitely want to hear something from you. We need to make a decision.
I'm gonna have multiple comments, but I'm gonna start, and then I'm gonna stand for somebody else to speak. Number one, I want to send appreciation out to Chief Talley and his team. I personally watched the fire yesterday, and I guess Kitty Hawk Hill's line, and I probably was the second or third person at that house. I mean, the first responders hadn't even showed up yet, and I got a whole different perspective on what they deal with until you've personally watched it and felt the heat. You can't see it on TV and learn it. So congratulations to a job well done by you and your team. In fact, I even called Chief Talley yesterday to let him know that. And I want all first responders, fire and police, to have everything that they always need at all times for their lives and for our lives as well. I've been very outspoken about it. I'm very pro law enforcement, very pro first responder. And I want the public to understand that, to be clear, this 3 cents is raising your taxes already. 100% your tax bill is going up if we even stay at the 3%. So if we do an additional penny, it's going to go up even more. So I want the public to clearly understand your taxes are going up. And I'm going to stand, I'll have more comments after that.
All right.
Point. Very good point.
Anything else?
I'm going to stand for right now.
Okay. Dylan?
Yeah, I agree with everything David's saying. That's definitely is a good point to make up. If we did something like that, I would want that, as you just said, as you mentioned, that to be 100% dedicated to the fire truck. The more I think about it, I don't know if we should dedicate it to an actual truck or fire apparatus. That way, if there was money in there that needed to go to an ATV or something like that, I don't know. Just something to think about. I could go either way. I'm happy with where we landed. The 22 cents is a really nice balance where we had multiple discussions through many budget meetings. I'm happy with that. I'm fine with any way, as long as if we did go to the extra cent, it would go to just the fire apparatus.
And I want to maybe come back on that. So when you say to the fire department, make sure I'm on the same page as you, is if he needs something else pertaining to the fire department, it could be spent on that.
That's right. Yep.
I would be more inclined to agree with that versus just a truck.
The idea that it's going to the truck,
Fire
but
department.
if for whatever reason there was excess money, we weren't stuck with money for a truck and didn't need a new truck.
Right. Or if he needed something else for them.
Liliana, I see you shaking your head. We can't do that, can we?
Could that not?
Based on the language or the ordinance? It depends on the language. You establish the language as a restricted to.
I think it's got to go directly towards the truck.
Yeah.
Right? And that's it.
It depends. If in the language you establish that it's specifically for the fire truck, you must be going to, in order to use it for all the things, you have to undo what you do. Otherwise, the language has to be a little more open. Right, Casey?
Correct.
Who created the language?
The ordinance.
So we did the ordinance.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So we can change an ordinance if we want.
Yeah, that's what you're saying.
Right.
So we gear it toward the fire truck now, and then if we realize that we need to change that,
We can just change the
direction,
ordinance.
We just change.
Yes, if you initially or establish an ordinance that say the new tax rate, I'm sorry.
Right.
It can be a budget.
We can change it.
It can be a budget amendment.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's
not-
all
it's not
in the original
Correct.
ordinance, and how do you establish the language there?
Make sure.
It's the same as the MSD, designated allocated specifically for beach nourishment. If you decide one moment it's for something else, then you have to amend the language. Is that correct?
Correct. There could, and as you're saying, Liliana, and I think as you guys have just now noted, it would be through a budget amendment if that's something you guys wanted to do. And that's something you can do at any time during the fiscal year. So,
Yes. I would like to provide a little more information that probably will help you here. In order to collect $2 million for 1 penny, it would take 8 years. 248.
It take how, 8 years for $2 million?
But let's back up.
$2 million a year.
We're already putting 200 away.
248, yeah, if you, it would take 8 years to collect $2 million. If it's only that many, correct?
Only the penny.
Correct. But keep in mind that at the end of this fiscal year, you will have all the money, $200 that we put in aside for this fire engine. So you're gonna have $200 in addition to.
We can flip the other cent purposefully to the new ladder truck.
Yeah. So.
Once we know we have enough money for the one that's on order.
Mm-hmm.
So then you could be allocating 2 cents to the ladder
Still with the
truck.
1 cent
If you-
cost.
Right,
Yes.
right.
If you decide.
Next year, we could do.
If you decide
Next
not to allocate one extra penny, and once we finish, pay the fire engine, next fiscal year, only 200, as we've been doing it, it would take 10 years to collect $2 million a year, correct? If you add 1 penny extra and 200,000 more, it would take 5 years to collect $2 million.
And that's about what we have before the truck.
Yeah,
5 years.
2030.
5 years.
That would be,
Any further questions?
Dave and Dylan, you okay right now?
I mean, I had to calculate it, to be honest with you, but I guess I'm still a little confused. Is that 5 years to include what we're already setting aside in the budget now with the 200,000, like Dylan, those Councilman asked, or?
Yes.
But that's for a different truck.
Okay. That's
So-
where I was getting confused. So we're really speaking of 3 trucks since I've been on the board in two
Well,
elections.
we had one, we already bought.
Right.
Then
So
this
then
one.
one we're doing, then one more.
Right.
Right.
But that's going to continue for.
No, I understand that for sure.
Sitting right $200.
Yeah. Chief Talley, I had a question.
Exactly.
Do you guys, when I was watching yesterday, I saw a couple of your guys yanking a ladder off the truck. Do we not have a truck with a ladder at all that's attached to the top of the truck?
Yes, and how we do it traditionally here in the Outer Banks is that fire was actually in the town of KDH. And they'll respond their ladder company, which they call a truck company.
Gotcha.
They might have had some issues because it's not staffed, so it might have been delayed, and that's probably why you didn't see it.
Yeah, because I mean, definitely saw 13 on the first. So I was just curious. I mean, I didn't realize how important little things like that. I mean, I've never been a firefighter, so.
Thank you, Dave. Jeff?
Well, we've had about 2 full days of a budget workshop and hours of conversation amongst us. And I thought that we had all decided on the budget that Liliana has prepared for us tonight. We had talked to the chief. Chief said we could probably wait a year and let it get one of these trucks paid off. That way we can see where our budget is and see how much we can put away. And if we find out that we're getting in a hole, we have a budget next year. And we can always make up for what potentially we didn't see. Of course, we know it's coming. Right now, your taxes are going up. And they're going up. And I'm trying to do whatever I can on this board to keep them as low as I can and keep you safe. Chief says we could probably get by. And so I'd like to wait till next year's budget and let the council at that time make a decision on whether we need to go up or maybe we can keep it the same. Right now, I think we need to let the people adjust to their new rate and the budget that we spent so much time and Liliana's prepared for us. She would have to go back and rewrite the whole thing, basically, or whatever. But that's my 2 cents. I'm happy with where we are.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of discussion on this. And right now, I'm just trying to protect the residents' money. So
Well,
I'd like to stay where we
I
are.
think we're all trying to protect the public and our residents in another way.
well, that's right. And
And I'd hate,
Chief, does that mean that truck can't be used? Does that mean we just put it out in the pasture? Or you say it's, or are you saying it's time to start looking at a new one in 5 years?
Yeah, I mean, we've been talking about this for a few budget cycles, And then we're trying to keep the apparatus at a 25-year benchmark. So that's what I'm saying, is we're hitting that in 2030. Now, at that point, you're just hoping that the truck is, I mean, it's 25 years old. So you're just hoping that it keeps making it each year. But chances are, yes, if we have to go a year or two to get through, to get the revenue to pay for it, I think we'll be in good shape.
Just to be clear, it's 25 years old right now,
Yes.
It will then.
2030.
And we do have a reserve fund, and for needs such as if all of a sudden we're almost there and we need some. That's what the reserve fund's for. And we can always go, if we're a couple 100,000 short, it's in the reserve, but we might not need it. And so if the truck lasts another year, that could be a potential another 200. Maybe after the other truck, we could raise instead of 200, we could go to a higher amount every year for the next 4, after we see how this year's budget works out with the new tax rate.
Well, I want to echo, first and foremost, my other concern with why I'm against the 1 cent this year is I think the folks back in the village and some of our elderly residents and all over Kitty Hawk need to adapt to this increase now.
Absolutely.
They're on fixed living. This is going to be a pretty big adjustment for them already. You know, you can say, well, 1 penny is not a lot. It adds up on per 100 in valuation, right? Clearly, if 1 penny generates $248,000, that comes from somewhere. Back to Chief Talley, that also helps keep our rating up too, to have our trucks in order too, right? Like,
Yes, it's got to meet that certification each year.
right.
And in the last 5 years, we've been having some failures. So, and that just means we just got to get the truck fixed and repaired. And that's just getting steeper and steeper. And like I said in the meeting, in the previous meeting, it's not going to affect the ISO because it goes over the 25-year mark. But now you just start getting to the other, you got to start looking at the other things. If these trucks fail, if they fail on scene, you know, what kind of liability are we looking at?
100%.
They're telling us that the 25-year mark, the NFPA is saying that is the oldest that you should have a fire truck and a fire truck. So then, I guess, it gets into that other world, which am not, that's, Casey comes in, but.
I don't want to be there.
No, me either.
It's, who knows how that's going to end up if something like that happens.
And Chief, by no means will we let you go without a truck.
That's right.
And I don't want the public to think that this council is by in any means going to let us go with their house burned down because this council's not funding the truck.
That's right.
Because that's, I mean, if I knew right this minute that we couldn't generate that money in 5 years, then I would be raising taxes. But I think we can trim and slim and we can get that truck.
I agree.
That's just me.
Well, I can tell you, this council and the previous council, we have made leaps and bounds in improving the safety for our first responders, and I'm truly thankful. So I think I think Jeff, you said yourself, I think we're going in the right direction, and I totally agree.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Chief. Anything else, Jeff?
No.
Thank you, sir. Charlotte?
Chief Talley, would you tell us how long it takes to get that truck once you order it?
The current build right now for the truck we just ordered is, they're telling us 3 years.
3 years?
For a ladder truck, it's between 3 to 4 years.
Okay. And right this minute, it's $2 million. Is that true? And we don't have to pay a dime until we get the truck? You just order it and
Correct.
we don't pay
There's different ways to do it, but yes, that's how we did the.
Okay.
The truck that we have in possession now, we prepaid that one. The truck we have on order now, we have not paid anything, and we'll pay once we receive it.
Do you foresee that going much over 2 million by then? We don't know.
It's set price, I think.
We didn't foresee it going to $2 million.
It's a lot of that.
It's set price though when you ordered it, right?
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Once you order it, that's
Yeah.
what the price is.
Yeah, there's a contract.
Right.
Unless there's something big with some
Right.
changes, some federal changes, and emissions controls,
Right.
something like that. That can cause some changes to the motor, which can really get steep, and then that will come back on us.
Sure. That's outside of anybody's control, though.
I see it differently. I am as interested as anybody about everybody's money in this town, and I have skin in this game too. I just think that if we did that penny and were assured that we were going to get a truck when you needed that truck, I would be very happy, but I can't seem to get that across. So, but I would go either way with the 1 cent or wait.
And we did leave the last meeting. Jeff is exactly right. 22 cents is what proposed to it, but we left the last meeting. Council, think about it. The only way we can do this is if we go above the 22 cents. That is the way this last meeting ended, because I ended it that way.
Kitty Hawk hadn't gone up in taxes for over 13 years. There's not anybody in this town that can run their house the same way they did 13 years ago today. It just doesn't happen. You have to go up. You have to provide all this safety stuff. So I don't want to hurt anybody, but I don't want to get hurt either. So I'd rather go ahead and see you do it and know it's coming and let it roll.
Well, now Kitty Hawk may not have raised their tax rate, but people in Kitty Hawk, taxes have gone up.
Yeah, well, Dare County does.
So, correct. There's still, Kitty Hawk may not directly raise taxes, but Dare County has raised taxes in Kitty Hawk.
But Kitty Hawk has a lot of
Understood,
expensive, and
but
I
I
didn't
just want the public
understand
to
that
make sure
until
they
I was
understand the
on
difference.
council. I did not fully understand that. Somebody could say, oh, they're going up on taxes. I would have felt the same way that everybody else does, except now I understand what it takes to do this and to keep good personnel on board and to be professional. And I just understand it a whole lot better now, and I'd much rather have it at one time and then not bother anybody about it again. But I'm by myself.
I think this council has done well to get to this point with the help of Liliana and her staff and Melody to get to where we are today.
We don't have a single department head that would ask for a thing that they don't need. They are very conscientious about what they ask for, and they know they need it when they do. So.
All right, any further discussion? Like I said, we need to make a decision tonight or either hold a special meeting before the end of the month. But I think we're ready tonight, partner. Jeff?
I mean, I'd be glad to make a motion to approve the budget as presented for the 25-26 fiscal year.
Go ahead, Jeff. Is that your motion?
Yes.
Okay. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Dylan. Any further discussion? No further discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That'd be a nay from me.
And me.
Okay. Motion is passed 3-2. Thank you. Glad we got that done. Thank you, council, so much. Okay, item 9B, we have an appointment for our planning board. And I know that some of you have made some contacts.
Planning board or board of,
First is planning board.
Planning board
9B is
and Board
planning
of
board.
Adjustment.
board of adjustment?
9B is planning board. All right, go ahead.
I make a motion to appoint or reappoint John Richardson, Jim Garrity, and Chuck Heath as a regular member of the planning board with a term of office to expire June 30th, 2027.
I'll second.
Motion made by Charlotte, seconded by Jeff. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Does anyone have any further names to bring before council? Okay.
I make a motion to appoint John Richardson as chair of the planning board for 1-year term, expires June 30th, 2026.
Okay, that would be a reappointment, correct?
Reappointment.
Okay, thank you.
I'll second that.
Second by Jeff. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Are there any further names for chair of the planning board? Okay, item 9C, Board of Adjustment. Council?
I make a motion to reappoint Mark Perry, Abby Berkowitz to the regular member of the Board of Adjustments in the term of the office to expire on June 30th, 2027.
I'll second.
Second made by Jeff. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Are there any further names? Okay. Charlotte, we have a reappointment if you'd like to do that.
I make a motion to reappoint Justin Langley as an alternate member of the Board of Adjustments for the term of office to expire June 30th, 2027.
Second.
Motion made by Charlotte, seconded by David. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Are there any further names to come before council?
I make a motion to reappoint or to appoint Abby Berkowitz as vice chair of the Board of Adjustments for the term, 1-year term to expire June 30th, 2026.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Charlotte. Second by Jeff. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Are there any further names? Thank you, council. We are so indebted to our volunteers who get their time and their service to these boards. We couldn't do it without it. So thank you to everyone who's been reappointed and appointed tonight. Item 9D, Board of Trustees Relief Fund. Jeff, I think you've got this one.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to appoint Ron Tumalo as a Board of Trustees to the Relief Fund Board of Trustees for the Kitty Hawk Fire Department.
Thank you, Jeff. Have a second?
Second.
Second by Charlotte. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any further names to come before this council? Thank you, and thank you, Ron. Item 9E, we have an appointment to land transfer tax, and it just so happens the gentleman who is on that board right now is sitting to my right, Dylan Tillett, and I contacted Dylan, and he would like to be reappointed, so
I make a motion to reappoint Dylan Tillett to the Land Transfer Tax Appeals Board for Dare County with a term of office to expire June of 2029.
Second.
Jeff, second by David. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you, Dylan. It's too late now. You've already been reappointed. Too late. Item 10, we had no old business. Item 11, Time Manager, Melody.
Yes, sir. So today I had the pleasure of visiting the new police station, and I hadn't been in a couple of weeks, and there has been so much that has changed in the last couple of weeks. The electricity, air condition are fully operational. The flooring and the tile work have been completed. Most of the painting and the wall coverings are finished. The counters and the cabinets have been installed, and their restrooms are functional. Today, furniture was being delivered, and we are still aiming for a mid-June move-in date. I just want to say that we are so proud of this facility. It's been purposely renovated to function as a fully equipped police station. It has secure evidence storage, a modern armory, access control, and all the specialized spaces that are really essential for effective law enforcement operations. And I think that our town and our citizens and our council should be so proud, because it symbolizes our pride in the dedication and professionalism of our police force. and reflects the town's commitment to excellent safety and service of our community. And I can't wait till we have our open house, until everybody can see it. I think you're going to be amazed. Let's see. On Wednesday, June the 4th, Ocean Rescue staff will be hosting the first of several ocean rescue competitions. I don't ever remember one happening in Kitty Hawk since I've been here. So to me, this is a first. So I encourage everyone to come out and cheer on our home team as they compete on the 4th. It's at the Bird Street Access, and it starts at 6:00 p.m. So hopefully we'll see everybody out. And then last of all, on Friday, June the 6th, we're excited to have an ice cream social community-wide. Town staff is going to be scooping the ice cream, so bring your neighbors and your friends and your kids, and we'll have all the good flavors and toppings, and it's a nice chance to catch up with your community and your neighbors, and we hope to see you there. That's going to be again Friday, Town Hall, between 3 and 5.
Thank you, Melody. Is that it?
All for me.
Good report. David? You all right tonight?
It's been a long couple hours.
You gonna come to the ice cream social?
As long as I'm not scooping the ice cream.
Okay.
Thank you, Melody. Casey?
I have nothing, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay. Town council, Shaw?
Yes. Everybody knows that the Recreation Committee is very near and dear to my heart, and I had some information come to me in the last week about this trail that we have worked very hard to build around this town, and people are calling it the $1 Million Mile. So I just want to make sure that it's clear that we had a budget of $30,000. We have spent all but $5,000 of that $30,000, so we're well within budget. We did it with volunteers. We did it with building materials that were donated from the building supply store. And I'm very proud of what they've been able to do. And I only think that maybe they confused the multi-use path on the bypass rather than this trail around the town, because that is $1 million, but it's more than a mile. So anyway, I just want to make sure that everybody knows it's within budget. So,
It's amazing how wrong information gets around.
now I've battled misinformation ever since I
Bad,
sat in
too.
this chair.
Thank you, Charlotte. And thank the
Thanks.
Recreation Committee. Y'all doing a good job. Great job. Jeff?
I'd also like to thank Charlotte and the Recreation Committee. That project that's been completed right to the south of, the north of the town hall was something that was on the books when I got on the planning board. That was back 15 years ago that had been talked about. So it's been on the agenda for a while. Liliana and staff, thank you very much for putting up with us. As everybody can see, the budget's pretty tough on all of us. It's a really tough thing, but we've gotten through this stage. Also, we do have a nice police station, and we do have a paid-off fire truck, and a lot of that is due to past council. And I want to give them credit. This council would have not had the opportunity to purchase the great deal that David worked for the town of Kitty Hawk to purchase that land. It was the savings of years of past town council that enabled this council to pay a fire truck off in one lump, to purchase the police department. And so I'd just like to give a thanks, and I know they're watching. They keep an eye on us. And I just want to thank them. And because without them, none of this would have been possible. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Jeff. I remember Mayor Perry talking about paying that fire truck. He was very proud of that.
Was.
Very proud of it. Thank you, Jeff. Dylan?
I want to echo the thanks to all the town department heads and manager, and that budget is not an easy task. But I think some good conversations were had along the way, and I think we all learned a bunch, and thank you very much. Quick question I wanted to bring up was I did have a phone call past several weeks about the White Street Beach access. And I don't know if that's something we could talk about now, or is there an update on that?
So we've got narrowed down the ownership, as we've said. I've got a letter worked up. We're going to get that sent out. And at that, because actually I had to go back and do a little bit more fine tuning, because we did discover there were some additional easements and things of that nature that were in play for folks not in that subdivision. But I wanted to do that before I made the pitch, if you will, to the developer, so that though we're not dealing with those private easements at this point, I wanted the developer know exactly what they were in this case. So the successor to the developer was given up. So, but I'm in a position now to get that letter out, and then we're gonna see if.
So what will that determine? That'll determine whether this is, what options we have?
That, ultimately, our request is going to be to see if there's any interest in the owner, and when I'm saying that, I mean the developer, of the fee, of the land itself, right, over which the easement exists. If that owner is willing to deed it to us for no consideration, for nominal consideration, whatever the case may be, but getting that title to the land, that puts us in a position where we've obviously got a lot more leverage and can actually do something on it if we want, without some form of governmental type action, such as eminent domain and all that good stuff. But again, I think that is first step, and that's kind of where we were at when we last left off. But that will at least, yes, put us in a spot where we can begin taking some action, because we will actually own it.
Okay, so still more to follow on that?
Still more to follow.
Got it.
Yep. And I'll absolutely keep you guys updated as I hear anything from the developer.
Thank you, sir. And then the other question I wanted to bring up, and it was, this kind of sparked my interest when I was reviewing that subdivision for today. In my history on subdivision applications, stuff like that, other towns or counties require, and this might be a question for Rob, Dare County or a health department evaluation prior to approving that project. We do not require that upfront, do we, Rob?
No, I think there's actually a line in the subdivision ordinance that states specifically that granting or approving the subdivision doesn't guarantee.
Correct. But if that was the case, it would, council would then be making a lot that was unbuildable, correct?
Potentially.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it'd be a discussion. I'd be curious what you guys think. Is that something you want to make as a requirement to have in hand a Dare County Health Department evaluation prior to approving a lot in a subdivision, or continue with what we're doing and risking possibly developing a lot that cannot have a septic system on it?
Casey, I'm going to ask you anyway, and you too, David.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, you can't get a building permit without the health department. Just because we approve it doesn't mean the health department will. So we're not really making it unbuildable, because there is no building permit if the health department denies it.
We're not making it unbuildable. We're approving a lot that would be unbuildable.
Correct, but just like the health department doesn't care what we permit, we don't care what they permit. So to answer your question, you are correct. The other parts of the towns do require that, or ours is just contingent upon receiving that. They have to bring it to you before they get a permit, the health department permit.
Or building permit.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
right.
But subdividing a lot, I've been thinking about this. Subdividing a lot doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to put a residence on it. I could subdivide a lot in my property and give one of my siblings a section for them to put a barn, for instance, without a toilet and in their name. Or just a piece of property maybe that is a starter kit to have collateral on the loan. I don't know. I do understand that, if it's coming as a subdivision, then maybe where we know it's going to be houses for residential housing, but like splitting a large piece of property, you could make, like, for instance, you know,
Well, I think Councilman, I think where he's going is a great idea if we're looking at something like Corinda Lane again.
that's correct, a subdivision.
Right.
And
But you can't require that just per specific case.
Well, I think the thing about it, you're probably more versed on this than I am with the new septic system. Well, you can bypass the health department altogether today now.
Yep.
You can go straight
With
to Riley.
1948D, you can. Not many engineers are going to want to do that.
Right.
It's a lot of risk.
Yeah.
Now, what kind of legality do we get in? It's like, say we divide a lot, you can't put a septic system on it, the lot gets sold to somebody that was not aware of that, they buy it, they want to put a house on it, all of a sudden they get told they can't, and then they go suing us because, hey, you guys made this lot.
That's on the realtor for not getting a perk.
Yeah, I mean, I think that if we didn't disclaim in the manner in which we do, so very clearly, that our approval of this, and we won't call it a contingency, we'll just say that it's a requirement nonetheless for obtaining a building permit, obviously. And given we're a buyer beware state, I think that even if they sued us, we're out of it you know, very quickly, because there's no representation we made. As a matter of fact, we said this has nothing to do with whether or not ultimately you can develop.
Creating that lot doesn't create the representation?
I don't know. No, I think because we disclaim. We're not, if we were representing that we were creating buildable lots, yet not requiring other forms of governmental entity approval that was necessary to make it buildable, yeah, we're in trouble. But we're obviously representing that this doesn't necessarily make it a buildable lot. I mean, in thinking about maybe the intent, I'd throw out, I mean, perhaps kind of piggybacking off what Jeff was saying, perhaps the idea was that, okay, well, we're going to come in and we'll allow this subdivision approval to occur, but it's almost it's like a pseudo restrictive covenant, not that we can enforce restrictive covenants or are, but now we've created a lot potentially adjacent to a lot with the homeowner where you can put a fence. I mean, you can create and increase your side yard, your backyard, but when you sell it, you certainly can't represent it as capable of being developed if it doesn't perk, for example.
But if nobody knew that and they sold it as is?
And that's where the seller, again, I think we're protected because of our disclaimers, and then folks who are subdividing for reasons other than development purposes, maybe maintaining space in between their neighbors or something of that nature, I think it allows them to go and do that without having to if they were to run into problems with septic.
So that's where the buyer beware state comes in.
Correct.
And also, if there are any broker that has any common sense whatsoever, the very first thing I do is go to the health department and pay $150, have them come test the soils under contract during examination period. So,
There's a lot for sale in Kitty Hawk right now that I would be very surprised that it.
Probably mucky and wet.
The entire, yep.
The one that's on.
I'm not gonna say which one. But I think it presents an issue we would have to deal with down the road if that was the case. I wanted to have the conversation. I didn't know what you guys thought about it.
And yeah, and please, if you guys won't have it, that was not, don't construe that as me saying that we certainly shouldn't even think about it.
Right.
I mean,
No, understood.
Understood. Your question is from a liability standpoint, would we get in trouble? No, I don't think so. Again, though, I've said this to you guys many times, a monkey can sue a giraffe. Right, so I mean, it doesn't change the fact that we could potentially be sued, and we've been sued in the past for frivolous reasons.
I don't.
But are we liable? Really, right? Becomes the question, and I would say no.
Okay.
I would be open for Rob looking into, how other places are doing it and giving us some information back to how other municipalities or Currituck County, other counties are doing it, and then
tell you how they do it. Every one of them. Yeah, I don't want to be as restrictive as that.
Well, we might not either.
Yeah, we
but
don't.
If we get all the non-restrictive and the restrictive, and maybe throw it at the planning board and let their minds, that's what they're there for, and maybe let them look at it and say, nah, we might not need it, or maybe we should here, but I think Dylan's brought it to the council's attention, and I'm all for just looking into just some information. You could just email us a little bit of what you found. Would be fine with me.
As an example, I'm not going to name the town. I don't want to have the health department come out here just because I want to put 4 foot on my deck. Right? That's what I don't want it to be.
Right.
You got to do that anyways.
No, I understand. Not everywhere.
In Kitty Hawk, you do. For a building permit.
I'm using it as an example. Like, I don't want to be over restrictive, like, without naming the town up here. Over coffee, I'll tell you.
All right. Anything else, Billy?
That's all I have. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Oh, man.
Dave?
Yes, sir. Chief Talley, again, I can't tell you how proud I am of you guys. I mean, I sincerely, really mean that. I wish I didn't witness it, but I'm glad I did. It put a whole nother level of perspective in my mind. You may remember some years ago, before I even was on the Branford Council, my neighbor's front yard was on fire. And I don't remember if a rock sparked the grasses or whatever, but I remember running down in the street and trying to grab the water hose and called you guys, and just the heat from that grass alone was enough. But that thing yesterday is a whole different dynamic. And I want you to know that I'm sure I speak for the rest of this board. Regardless of the 1 penny this year or not, you guys will not go without what you need. And again, I'm really proud of what I witnessed. So as far as the budget, I know that's hard. I appreciate all the staff. I'm ready to get this police department opened up and locked up where I can't get in it. I feel like that's been, from the moment I drove to Elizabeth City to meet with the county manager and the county attorney till today, I feel like I was 21. So it's been a long road.
The same way.
So I'm glad to hear that that's coming along. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Dave. Like everybody else, Liliana, Lauren Cavendish, Melody, thank you so much we've been meeting and talking since March between budget workshops and council meetings and one-on-ones on the budget. You folks did a great job, and thank you. And my thanks to this council, we have passed our budget. That's a good thing. That's a wonderful thing. Friday of Memorial Day, we had our annual welcoming to our ocean rescue people at the fire station. We've got a great group again. We could not obviously function without our ocean rescue, and I'm just very thankful for what they do. I have been out there. We got an additional stand. Willie, thanks for setting that up, additional lifeguard stand this year, and maybe next year we can look at another one, but it's just awesome, and it's just real great. So again, thank you all to all the department heads. Council, anything else?
One more thing I do want to add.
Yes, sir.
I want to go back to the White Street. Casey, I'd like to see that expedited as quickly as possible, whatever we aren't doing.
You got it.
Please.
No problem.
That's an important area to the south end of Kitty Hawk. So, for many reasons.
Just remember, I can't make them talk now.
That's okay. It is, so just remember, it's for public use. So.
All right, anything else, Council? Okay, Council, I'm going to make a motion that we go into closed session regarding NCGS 143-318.11A3 to consult with the town attorney regarding matters protected within the attorney-client privilege and to preserve this privilege. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by David. All in favor? Aye. We are in closed session. Folks, thank you so much for coming. I'm going to have to ask you to leave tonight. Hopefully it's going to be a short closed session. Thank you. And we will not be coming back to discuss any further business.